Hi, welcome. My name is Idris Kamoga, and I am happy to have you. We are in the new week. However, the year is getting down, right? Um, During our every new week, we come with our business tip, right? And today, we want to bring to you something that is very important as we approach end of the year, right? 2025 is in the corner. I think next week, today is the 29th of October. Next week will be in November. Actually, within the same week, this very week will be in November. So, what are you planning? How are you looking forward to start in the starting of the new year, 2025? You must devise new strategies, right? It could be marketing strategies, they could be operational strategies, they could be uh, ways of doing things must change if you're looking at success in the tourism business. But guess what? Today we are bringing a very pertinent issue that we want to give you a tip on, right? And we want to talk about taxation and tourism. If you're running a tourism business, you cannot operate if you're not tax compliant, right? And we are asking you to be tax compliant if you're looking forward to sustainability of your business. Well, in tourism business, there are so many tourism businesses, but we'll probably pick a case study uh, for two operations. And we want to talk about how and what taxes that you're liable to remit, right? And if you're tourism business, you must be able to file what we call income tax. This is an annual. We usually file that at the end of every financial year, right? And I'm sure some of you have done this already. It doesn't matter. You can file zero as your income tax, but you must, because it's mandatory, right? And for those businesses that are actually doing well, there must be figures, right? And for any other business that whose total sales are above 150 million Uganda shillings are liable to register for VAT, what we call value added tax. See, we're not going to dig deep into how to file VAT, all that. We are not tax experts. We will advise you to look for a tax expert. Sit down with him and probably orient him or her how your business operates. It's very important. Our biggest concern is to ensure that you are compliant, right? As a tourism business entrepreneur. Remember, our journey is headed to success, and you cannot head to success if you're a tax defaulter. Trust me, you can do that for 1 year, you may do that for a second year, you may do that for a third, fourth, and fifth. But the consequences, right? So this is what we want you to understand. And today we want to give you both sides of the coin in our tip as a business, as a tourism business entrepreneur. And probably you can look into your operations and see, where am I wrong? Had I known, probably I would go for this or I would go for that. Probably your day has not come, but trust me, it is very okay to be able to remit tax to government in real time, right? So this is what we want to talk to you. And if you go to, I was doing some small reading, I'll probably take you to, you can go to your government um, tax authority. In Uganda, we've got the Uganda Revenue Authority. In Kenya, I think they have Kenya Revenue Authority, the KRA. In Rwanda here, you can have the RRA, something like that, Rwanda Regio, whatever. You see, Tanzania, name it, Africa and across, right? So, but when I was doing some small reading and probably about VAT, and VAT is one of the most complex, right? How you file your returns in regards to VAT. I would refer um, to a Uganda Revenue Authority portal, and you'll see who qualifies. We've already said a person whose business is able to make a total of 150 million, Uganda shilling sales. If we took that in dollars, it would be about 45, around there, right? 45,000 US dollars. So if your total sales have got to that level in a given year, that means you're liable to register for VAT, and you should be able to uh, be able to uh, start remitting VAT to government. But these are some of the small readings I saw, and I thought I could share with you, probably for those that have registered for VAT. And for simplicity, these are some of the things. I'll just read some points for you here. Of course, you have to charge and collect VAT on taxable supplies by using an e-invoice. That's very important. See, because even from your suppliers, you must demand for these e-invoice. At least it's advisable. And when you sit with your taxman, they will always take you through all these as requirements, right? You have to file your VAT returns within 15 days after the end of the month. Now, just imagine we are almost ending the month. We are in October. In other words, you must file your VAT and pay within the first 15 days of the next month, which is November, right? You must maintain a proper business record and avoid making false and reckless misleading statements. That's very key when you probably register for VAT. Remember, we've said it's something that is very complex, but if you're very organized enough, things will be well for you. Pay VAT dues as assessed in the return within 15 days. This is something that we've just talked about after the end of each month. In other words, you're going to look at whatever sales that you've made in that particular month. Have they now for the tours, have they departed? Have they been consumed? Then this is when you're able to put them down, file them, and then you're able to do that. So those are some of the key things that you must follow here and there, right? When you're actually filing or when you're registered on VAT. Probably there will be much more when you sit down with your taxman and gives you advices. But the point here is we want to share with you some of the benefits of your being tax compliant, and also give you the consequences, give them the negative, impacts of you not being compliant, right? So I think it's good to start on a good side of the coin. We can raise some of these things, and you can as well go do some more reading about what we're talking about. But it's a very good, we've seen so many people operating without paying taxes. That's not right. Okay, cool. So one of the key benefits in being tax compliant, are you paying your income tax? Are you filing your VAT? All that. One, avoidance of penalties and fines. The day the authority will come to you and you've not been paying tax for 5 years, the assessment, you may not manage it. So the advantages of you being able to remit tax on time and be able to file your income tax, your VAT, name it, in time is probably to mitigate penalties and fines. The other thing is you reduce tax liability. Tax is a liability, we all know that, but you reduce it, right? Through deductions and exemptions. Of course, you'll have some exemptions. For those that are on VAT, you have some deductions, especially when input, output, all that stuff, right? So you have some deductions because you're paying, and you see. So the other thing is enhanced ability to make informed business decisions. You see, when you're going to do something, of course, you have to look at tax involved, right? If you're going to do something, you have to look at, do we have any pending taxes? You see? So it helps you do key decisions than someone who doesn't really want to get interested in knowing whether to pay tax or not to pay tax. You see? That's one of the challenges. So the other thing would be increased customer trust, transparency, all that stuff. If you've happened to work with government in one way or the other, contracts or tenders here and there, they can only get your transparency, your credibility, probably looking. And at one point, they really ask for documentations like tax certificates. Of course, when you get contracts and all that from government, you guaranteed of bigger revenue earnings, right? We go to industry reputation and credibility. Of course, what happens if you're announced to be a tax defaulter in the industry? So your credibility is lost. So when you pay tax, definitely your reputation and credibility goes high, right? It improves relationship with your suppliers. Of course, you are paying tax, they are paying tax. So whenever they have input or something of that sort in regard to taxation, both parties benefit. You see? So working with suppliers when you're paying tax, you see, it improves the relationship, between suppliers and partnerships. Of course, better chances of securing investment and funding. You see, investors would come on board. Probably they would look through your your tax um, your tax record. It's very key. You see, so we are here not to 100% say pay tax forcefully, but we are saying deliberate tax payment for any tourism business entrepreneur, for you to be able to be successful, right? It also streamlines financial processes and record keeping. Remember, we've talked about record keeping. For any taxpayer, you must be very well organized in as far as record keeping. Everything must be kept in black and white. And lastly, it improves risk management and mitigations. You see, you can do risk management and mitigations into well you're tax compliant. You'll be able to understand all this, the involves and all that stuff. So be able to remit, or be tax compliant at one point when you're doing tourism as a business. Would also love to jump into a few consequences for those that are non-tax compliant. At least we must understand both sides of the coin. And one, of course, be assured of penalties and fines. And these are huge. And you never know. You never know when that would happen. I think you've seen companies that have been, hit by tax penalties and fines. Majority of them have collapsed. So we don't want you to be a victim of a sort. You see, it damages your reputation and credibility, right? So you don't pay tax, and tomorrow the authority declares you as tax fraud. Your reputation and credibility is gone, right? And the road success will be no more. Legal issues and disputes, of course, they will take you to court. Even your suppliers will take you to court. See, the authority can do that as well. So what are we saying is being tax compliant is one way that can give you sustainability as a tourism business entrepreneur. Lots of businesses, of course, licenses and permits. If you don't pay tax, the authority will close you up. They will definitely, call off your license. You'll be probably banned to do business in any way. So they have all the powers to do so. So why not be tax compliant in this case? And lastly, increased risks of audit and inspections. Of course, that is, if you are not able to remit tax, the authority will be on you all the time, all day, every day. Audit and inspections. And trust me, that alone will disorganize you. It will disorganize you, and in the end, it will affect your business operations. So today, we wanted to take you through and how to understand the consequences of being tax compliant. If you're not, the consequences will be bitter. If you are tax compliant, the consequences will be probably maintained. So I hope you've learned something from this new week. It's about taxation. If you want to understand more about taxation, remittances, and all that stuff, even filing and all that, if you feel you can have more time, then consult with a taxman. You must have a taxman. At least he is able to guide you on every step regarding taxation of the tourism industry. I thank you, and do not forget to follow us on our social handles. We're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on YouTube. Please do subscribe. We're also on Facebook. I thank you and can't wait to see you in our next video. Bye-bye.